The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, got some more bad news. The latest rumor claims that the budget for season three will be lower than the budget for season two. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and this rumor comes from Scooper's Fellowship of Fans. This is what they posted at the end of March. The Rings of Power Season 3, which will film in the UK, will have a much lower budget than Season 2, with a focus to reduce departmental costs. Some of the costs for departments such as hair, makeup, costume, sound, etc., were more expensive in the UK than New Zealand, where they filmed Season 1. The Scoopers added in a follow up, it is understood that this is nothing to worry about, as the startup costs for season one in New Zealand were massive, as it was setting the grounds for 5 seasons. And with the relocation to the UK in season two, it was again expensive to start up again in a new location. Again, so it makes sense for a 5-season show to have it be balanced out. That's utterly ridiculous. Their explanation for that, if you recall, Game of Thrones increased its budgets as the show became more and more popular and was generating more revenue for HBO. You don't all of a sudden have your budget slashed when your show is performing well. Doesn't make sense that you would have really high end front loaded budgets for a planned 5-season show, and then we're just going to put all of our budgets at the beginning of this 5-season show, and then have really bad low budgets at the end. That just, I don't think that's how it works. Ridiculous explanation to try and justify this show's failure. And this show is failing because we have a lot of evidence to point to this. One, you'd only look at the recent layoffs announced by Amazon MGM Studios back in January. Yeah, I don't know why I typed Virginia there. That should be January. The company's senior vice president, Mike Hopkins, informed employees in an email that was obtained by Deadline. Throughout the past year, we've looked at nearly every aspect of our business with an eye towards improving our ability to deliver even more breakthrough movies, TV shows, and live sports in a personalized, easy-to-use entertainment experience for our global customers. As a result, we've identified opportunities to reduce or discontinue investments in certain areas while increasing our investment and focus on content and product initiatives that deliver the most impact. As a result of these decisions, we will be eliminating several hundred roles across the Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios organization. He continued saying, today we will begin to reach out to colleagues who are impacted by these role reductions. Notifications will be sent out shortly, and we will expect all notifications in the Americas to be completed this morning, Pacific time, and most other regions by the end of the week. This is a difficult decision to make, and one that my leadership team and I do not take lightly. It is hard to say goodbye to talented Amazonians who've made meaningful contributions on behalf of our customers, team, and business. Thank you for your dedication and work. To help with the transition, we are providing packages that include a separation payment, transitional benefits as applicable by country, and external job placement support. So again, you usually don't lay off hundreds of people if you're if you're doing well. And Amazon invested heavily in the Rings of Power, and it didn't do well, which we'll get to. Before we get to that, we did have a report from Bloomberg's Lucas Shaw in July 2023, so 6 months before these layoffs were announced. In that report, it detailed that Amazon CEO Andy Jassy was looking into the costs of numerous shows at Prime Video. Shaw detailed in his report at the time, Jassy is now trying to get a better handle on why specific shows cost what they do, based on conversations with more than a dozen different people who either work at Amazon or have worked with the company or project. So obviously, he thought that costs had ballooned at Prime Video. We saw shows that had been renewed actually get canceled later in the year in 2023. I forget the title of the one that really escapes me right now. It's like the sci-fi show. Peripheral is the name. Just came to me. So that one had got an actual announcement renewal by Amazon, and then they actually scrapped it later in 2023. So obviously costs were really high there. So obviously they had a lot of problems with a number of their shows. And then I think that Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power is one of those, despite what Amazon has been saying. One of the big examples of this is this damning report from Kim Masters at The Hollywood Reporter back in April 2023. This is what she reported. While Amazon, like other streamers, provides only limited data, and internally it held information even more closely than usual on the series, sources confirm that The Rings of Power had a 37% domestic completion rate, customers who watched the entire series. That means that 63% of people who watched the first episode, or at least watched some of the first episode, chose not to continue to finish the entire series. That is really, really bad. And she explains this. Overseas, it reached 45%. A 50% completion rate would be a solid but not spectacular result, according to insiders. So 37% is bad. Very, very bad. 63% of Americans did not finish the show after watching at least some portion of the first episode. She also went on to say the show has not been a major awards contender, either overlooked by the major guilds, with the exception of one SAG-AFTRA nomination for Stunt Ensemble. We also saw viewership decline based on Nielsen ratings when the show was still on. I mean, I guess was the show was still kind of recently new to Prime Video. Nielsen reported that the series debuted with 1.253 billion minutes viewed in North America. That included the first two episodes as Prime Video released them together on September 2022. We look at that. Remember, Nielsen only tracks North America, so that would be those Americans, 63% not finishing it. So one would assume that more people watched that first episode than probably watched that second episode. People were already likely tuning out by then. That would be as high as the show would go. It would trend downward from there week after week. In its second week, it declined to 1.203 billion. By week 3, it was down to 988 million minutes viewed. In week 4, it fell to 977 million minutes. Week 5 saw it drop to 966 million minutes. It did see a bump when the season finale was released. It jumped to 1.137 billion, with viewers likely binging the entire series. So obviously the entire series is now out. You can all watch it in one go. So that is why you probably saw that spike in viewership once the season finale dropped. There were people that were trying to binge all of it. And I would wager that people who thought they were going to binge it didn't do that because they dropped out. Again, 63% did not complete it. However, the week following its finale, it saw viewership minutes drop to 570 million. In the subsequent week, it fell off Nielsen's charts with viewership below 354 million. That was the lowest on the top 10 original charts. So quickly fell off Nielsen's charts after its finale. The series has also received atrocious Rotten Tomatoes score of 38% from audiences. The average rating was 2.4 out of 5. On IMDb, it is a middling rating of just 7.0. You can see that the second highest rated score there is a 1 out of 10. Behind the highest rated score, a 10 out of 10. So I think there's a lot of evidence that shows that the show did not do as expected, did not perform well. But we do know that there were 5 seasons planned for this show. This was revealed by showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay in an interview with Empire back in 2022. This is what Payne told the outlet. He says the rights that Amazon bought were for a 50-hour show. They knew from the beginning that was the size of the canvas. This was a big story with a clear beginning, middle, and end. There are things in the first season that don't pay off until season 5. He added, we even know what our final shot of the last episode is going to be. In December 2022, head of global TV for Amazon Studios, Vernon Sanders, informed Deadline that the company was committed to McKay and Payne's vision for the show. He was asked by the outlets Nelly Andriva. Rings of Power received an early season 2 renewal in late 2019. Now that season 1 is out, are you still committed to Patrick and JD's vision of telling the story over 5 seasons? And if so, when can we expect a season 3 renewal? This is what he said. We are absolutely committed. We have every reason to be excited. They've done a tremendous job. It's a great question about season 3. We're probably 2 to 3 months in on season 3, but I think there could be news certainly in the new year. There's so much planning and prep that's necessary for us to get this mounted that the only reason we probably haven't gotten there quite yet is we've just been so heads down in season 2, but I would expect there to be news in the new year. There was no such news in 2023. A third season renewal has not been announced. It just hasn't been. We did have a report from the Hollywood Reporter in February of this year, 2024, from James Hibbard and Boris Kitt. They reported that Amazon MGM Studios did ink a new 3-year deal with showrunners Patrick McKay and JD Payne. The duo noted this: while a third season hasn't officially been ordered and a writer's room has not yet opened, the showrunners have started to break the initial story outline. Again, we were hearing that from Vernon Sanders back in December 2022, over a year before this report came out. So this isn't really that new. This was new. The report did note that Amazon was moving the show's production hub again for the third time from Bray Studios to Shepperton Studios in the United Kingdom. Remember, first season was shot in New Zealand, then they moved it to the UK at Bray Studios, and now they're moving it again to Shepperton Studios. So it's not looking good for the Rings of Power. And this latest rumor says that their budget is going to be cut even more, which to me shows that Prime Video, Amazon MGM Studios probably believe that the amount of money they were pouring into the first show was not actually bringing in the returns that they wanted. And I think that is a testament to the show's poor quality and its attack. It's a tack on the legendarium of J.R.R. Tolkien. But let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of this rumor that the budget for season 3 is going to be less than season 2? And do you expect season 3 to be even greenlit? Will we even see a season 3? Let me know in the comments below.